Welcome to Financial Fridays. My name is Alisa,
My name's Amber.
and this is,
Celeste Beebe from Choice One Bank.
and we are going to talk about credit this whole month. So, this is our second episode, and we have a question for you already. So, Amber, I'm going to let you ask the question this time.
Yes. So, we get a lot of questions throughout the classes and everything like that. And one of the other bigger questions that we get is what are some myths that you think about credit utilization that are stopping people from using credit?
Okay, that's a great question. The first thing that one of the myths is something that we've discussed in the previous episode is carrying that balance over. People thinking, oh, that's a great thing when it really isn't. And it goes back to that 30% rule that most people talk about, but really the lower your balance, the better it is. The other thing is closing, credit cards that you may have had for a while.
Definitely.
You don't want to do that because even though you may not be using that credit card right now, that's still the history of your credit. So you're not using it, don't close it. The other thing is having too many credit cards. Now, not that that's a myth, but however, it depends on the individual because some people use the credit cards as to live off of. So that's a bad thing when you're using the credit card to live off of. It's okay to have multiple because you may have one for an emergency. You may have one when you're, using when you go out to eat to build up the rewards and earn points for that.
Yeah.
That's really huge right now. So it depends on what it is that you're really utilizing the cards for.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. High limits are dangerous. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, depending on the individual, because the higher the limits, the lower the credit utilization is.
Right.
So that's one way of looking at it. But it's a bad thing if you're maximizing your credit cards.
Yeah.
So I would say those are some of the things that, I've learned throughout my life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes you hear it so much that you start telling other people about it.
And it sounds true, right?
Yeah, it sounds true because I heard it from so and so and she bought a
Yes,
house.
yes,
So, because that was one of the things when I was in the process of buying my house, people said, "Oh, you need at least 5 credit cards." Like that was the thing, about 10 years ago. People were like, "At least 5 credit cards." And you have to manage them well or whatever. But that was the thing, and I was like, I have one. I don't think I'm gonna make it. But it was really about more than
More.
just the amount of cards. More like how do you manage it?
Yeah, and I think even though that was 10 years ago, I think that's still true today. With people sharing what their experience was, back then, and it's so believable. You can turn on the news right now and like, oh, okay, that's not true. That's fake news. But you got a lot of people that's believing
Yeah.
because they're so strong will about it. So I encourage people, do your research.
Yeah.
What worked for someone else doesn't always mean that it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Know what's best for you.
I feel like each generation also has its own myth that carries on as well
Yes,
too.
yes.
Because I learned from my mom and dad that credit cards are not a good thing. So therefore, I didn't have credit cards until I started getting into this stuff here, and then I was like,
Yes.
they're not as bad as long as you know how to. So nobody taught
Yeah.
you how to use them.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
The same way if when you're writing checks, a lot of
Yeah.
especially now, who knows how to write a check? They're
not even teaching it
that-
anymore.
No, they're not teaching it anymore, and
Yeah.
it's left up to each family to try and educate our children and anyone that we come across.
yeah, and credit is. We said in the previous episode, credit is constantly changing. So fact checking in the credit realm.
Yes.
I think that's why credit is such a popular subject whenever we teach it, because They
Oh,
want to know
yes.
what's the newest thing, what is
Yes.
actually real.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
And laws too, because some
That
laws
too.
change and what's reported, how it's reported, all of that.
Yes. Yeah, I think the best thing that has changed with the rules for when it comes to reporting is when it comes to medical bills.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah.
not always putting those medical bills. It's an emergency situation. You're not always able to cover
Yeah.
those payments. That was the best thing, not harming people credit by putting that
Yeah.
on there.
And that was recent.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that wasn't too long ago. So I believe right now it's like if it's over $500, you know, but you still have like I believe it's a year or something. So
Okay.
yeah,
That's good
but
to know.
the medical, that's huge. And I'm sorry, I should have finished doing my research on that. But it's been a while since it came out, so I wanted to share that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people when they're applying for like a home or something. Back when we were pre-purchase counselors, sometimes that would stop people from getting a home because
Yes.
of that.
Yes, yes.
So I was glad when they made that change as well too. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
expertise. And as always, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all the pages, basically all the pages. And yeah, we're here for every Friday. We just have some little things to share about financial stuff. So thank you.
Thank you.